absolutely delighted to be here. And I guess I'm saying that particularly because last year I worked closely with Vinny, who's behind the pillar, and on the Sláinte Care Healthy Communities programme. And from the get-go, I was very impressed with, first of all, the passion. And it is indeed the word passion, and we're all here, we're human beings, we're not talking about programmes, we're talking about people. And the passion of the people in the Department of Health who are really keen on getting this programme up and running and making a difference, addressing the causes of what we know in the drug and alcohol sector. We know the damage, we know the corrosiveness, we know the brokenness and the fracturing of individuals, their families, their communities, and indeed all of us in this country. So it's got great potential that we combine and we find out what needs to happen and what bits of the various pieces, because to go back to Vinny again, there is an absolute avalanche of this grand source, that programme, that strategy. And at times myself, and I'm supposed to know what's going on, but I find it overwhelming and I get confused and I'm thinking, what am I doing? What am I trying to do? So I don't want people to leave this room with that sense of, oh my gosh, there's this and there's that. And then there's us, and we've been here for 26 years doing the work on the ground. The point of today is that we take a bit of space, that we acknowledge that, you know what, we need to maybe step out of our own spaces and actually pick the bits of Lego and pick the bits of Play-Doh that we can perhaps combine to get the resources and to get the outcomes for the people we're all working with. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to stop talking now because we're very, very tight for time. But I am inviting everybody to, having put up with all of this until 1 o'clock, go and get a bit of lunch, and it's in that space that maybe we'll have a little bit of time to step out of our, oh, I always do it this way and I'm so under pressure and we don't have enough money, to maybe think about what you've heard, what you've learned, who you've spoken to, and maybe like a magpie, pick the bits that sparkle to you and start using them, and that's my dream for today. And I want to thank both our speakers, and particularly Andrew, because I think you set the tone. Where are you, Andrew? Oh, thank you. Sorry, Andrew. That you set the tone. It's the heart and it's the minds of very, very fragile, very damaged communities, and we're here to acknowledge and honour them and us and all our work. So we're going to have a slightly different tack, and that's not a health warning, but what I just want to say that there's going to be a lot about data sources, and Vinny already spoke about that, and it can be overwhelming. And my big question is, why don't they work together to really help us do what we know we need to do? And Vinny spoke about the need for granularity, and yes, we need to know what's happening on that road, in that cul-de-sac and in that area. So I'm hoping that we have some really, really strong experts who are going to tell us about their bit of the equation. And again, I'm going to invite you all to have a think about that and say, how can I use that? How can that help me do what I know I want to do and need to do? So I'm going to start with Martin, and Martin is the Director of Data and Analytics with Pobble, and like the cheeky Pat Bennett, I'm not even going to go into people's very august biographies because we don't have the damn time, but these are very expert people. So Martin, I'm going to start with you, and then Dr. Susie Lyons, who I have to say the HRB has played a blinder with us, and I want to thank them for that. And then we'll go on to Liz Canavan, who is going to talk about the potential for creative collaboration. And I know she's going to give some strong messages around integration and knowing what bits should be going where, and inviting us not to be overwhelmed by it, because it is overwhelmable, if that's a word. And then we're going to go back to the community, and we're going to have Patricia Brennan. I'm so sorry, Patricia. Oh God, that second cup of coffee didn't land yet. I am so very sorry. and she's going to talk to us about both the academic and reality. So with no further ado, I'm going to hand you over to our first speaker, Martin, quickly. Thank you.